Welcome to my channel Open Your Mind, where we go on an adventure to expand our awareness through spirituality. On today's video, my yoga philosophy mentor Vishu and I will start our journey to understand the true, hidden, ancient wisdom in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. We're going to begin with the first 3 sutras today that are all about mindfulness. But first, a little bit about the importance of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. I just want to start today by talking a little bit about why I feel yogic philosophy is so important. In fact, for me, it's quickly becoming the central most philosophy of my life, which I'm following. And just to explain a little bit, I've been on quite a spiritual path for the last few years. I've been exploring a lot of forms of spirituality. I found some amazing practices, amazing books I've read. I followed a lot of the modern day philosophers and authors. And, really deep diving into concepts like awareness, self-actualization, the purpose of human life, dealing with suffering and pain. What is it all about? I've really been exploring many sources. And I have to say that every single piece of knowledge or wisdom or awareness or advice that I've come across in my experience are all mentioned in one single source, which is Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, which is more than 3,000 years old. So I'm so excited to talk about it and really share the wisdom piece by piece that is mentioned so beautifully in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. And just, a very basic understanding that the Yoga Sutras written by sage Patanjali is, yes, it's many thousands of years old. It's written originally in Sanskrit language. There are 195 sutras and they are divided into 4 main chapters. And each sutra is actually only a few words or maybe one sentence long. So that's how brief it is and that's how powerful each and every word in the sutras are. And my teacher and mentor who has gotten me into this subject is Vishu, who I'm talking to. And I'm so grateful we can have this conversation. And so, namaste, Vishu. And so we are going to be discussing each and every single sutra, starting from the beginning and what is the meaning, because it's very difficult actually to find the true meaning. So, Vishu, as we mentioned, there are 4 main chapters. Let's start in order from the beginning with Samadhi Pada chapter. And, what I found is that, again, in all these modern philosophies that one will study, the works of famous writers and video and content makers, this word mindfulness is so important and so powerful. It's something that anyone who's on this kind of quest is studying. But the true fundamental or original meaning of mindfulness, I think, comes from the Yoga Sutras, like all the basic fundamental philosophies. And it's written about very profoundly, I think, in the first 3 sutras, if I'm not mistaken. So let's start our conversation about that. We are starting with the first 3 sutras. And can you please explain to us what is mindfulness according to yogic philosophy?
The meaning of the word mindfulness, as far as we understand, it is a state of mind which is free from conflict, a brain which is very active and free from conflict, and having no prejudicement, who is very alert, alive, fresh. The brain which is very alert, alive, fresh is a brain which we call mindfulness.
Right.
So basically the mind which is completely engaged with the present moment, which is dealing with this moment now completely.
Yes.
Which is not moving further towards future or not dealing with past.
I believe this is the name of the first sutra as well.
Exactly. As first sutra is Atha Yoga Anushasanam.
Yes.
The word Atha means now, yoga as we know, and Anushasanam means discipline.
I think that's so impactful that the very first word in the Yoga Sutras is the word now, which again is
Now,
something that we study so much in modern day philosophy. There's so many writings on it. For example, even Eckhart Tolle, who I mentioned, his book, The Power of Now. There are
right,
many, many wonderful authors and philosophers who talk about it. I heard this lovely quote, it's a Buddhist quote that says, that there's only two times in life where you cannot live. You cannot live in the past and you cannot live in the future. You can only live in the present. And I think this is
right.
how the first sutra begins, which is amazing. So yeah, can we understand that a little bit deeper?
According to the Buddhist quote, which is saying we cannot live in the past, we cannot live in the future, because past does not exist. It is something which have gone. In future, which have not come yet. It doesn't exist.
Yes,
What exists is this moment, this
yes,
present moment. So we are living in present moment, but actually we are not living in present moment. Our identity, our self, is always coming from the past. What
right.
we have learned, what we have seen, we are very much identified from our past.
When you say we are living in the past through our experiences, you mean through our memories?
Right. So our identification is always somewhere in the past. How we identify ourselves. The moment we get punishment, we get rewards in our life as in a childhood. So we are very much detached with the punishments and attached with the rewards.
Right,
And these rewards gives an identity to us. Even punishments gives identity to us. Somebody says you are a dumb person, you are a dumb child. A teacher saying to a student in the childhood. So I identify myself. Okay, I'm a dumb person. I need to be something what they call intelligent, not dumb. So I'm struggling my whole life to become intelligent.
right,
And if teacher have said me you are an intelligent person, so now I have identified myself as an intelligent person. So the identity of mine is always coming from my past. My parents told me my name is Vishu, I am belonging to this particular religion, particular family background, the country. So it's all part of my memory, and I identify myself with what I have learned, what I have seen and heard from my past.
right. And so,
Which
what
is,
is it in yogic philosophy then that what are we aiming for? Are we aiming to not live with that connection, with that identity?
so the thing is, when we are living with this ordinary self, how this ordinary self is generated, if we see the history about every single human being in the childhood, society teach me that as you are is not enough.
Yes,
As you are in this world is not enough. You need to learn language, you need to learn mathematics, you need to grow, you need to become more intelligent, more sophisticated.
yes,
As you are is not a way to living a life. So in this case we start learning the things, we develop ourselves, we go to schools, we learn different subjects to grow, to become even more better. So this is a pattern the whole human life we are living in. Everybody is living with the same pattern, right? So this is an ordinary self, and with this ordinary self we have been trying to solving the problems of the life, but we have really not solved a single problem. If you look deeply into the human life, human have not solved even a single problem. Human was afraid before 5000 years before, and afraid today as well.
what are we so afraid of as a human race?
We are all afraid of losing the identity which we have, or we are afraid if if I will be able to develop a better identity or not. Like we all want to have a development of ourselves. That I have an image, I want to have a development of that image.
Yes.
So we are afraid if I will get succeed or not in this development.
So, are you saying that, for example, if we have some goals, like I have a goal, this I would like to learn Hindi language, for example, this is a goal, and if I don't achieve this goal, then I feel bad about it, I feel stressed, I feel anxious. So, isn't it natural that we all have goals in our lives? And you said to we all want to be better. But isn't it natural that we do want to keep learning and developing?
It's a very nice question you asked, actually. It is a very authentic question. We need to learn language, we need to learn things. But what is the base of learning? When I am going into the learning, I am going to learn uh, into the procedure of learning. I'm entering into it because I have insecurity, because I have a fear, and I can't leave myself as I am, as it is. So I need to develop a language. I am not accepting myself. So there is a fear which is pushing me to learn things. So I am disciplined because of fear. So I'm
Right.
learning language because I have a fear. And if something stops me to learn language, then this fear comes into many different forms. For an example, you are trying to learning the language and somebody stops you to learn language.
Yeah.
So you will, this fear will turn into anger. You
Hmm.
will be angry on that person who is stopping you. You will be angry on the situation. So if
Yes.
you see, what is anger? Anger is an obstacle on the path of desire, and
Hmm.
this desire is based on fear, because you have fear to live as you are.
Okay, so you mentioned these two very important points of fear and as well as discipline. And if I think about it, coming back to this example of learning a language, for example, I might have the goal and the discipline in me to learn the language, but it's true that some part of me is stressed about it. I am fearful of it. I'm fearful, what if I don't achieve it? What if I can't fulfill the next step? Maybe I'm learning the language to do something else, to communicate with someone. What if I can't communicate? All these thoughts surely are coming in my mind when I'm setting a discipline. So can you explain then, yeah, what is this connection in our first sutra we are discussing between fear and discipline?
What does it mean by the discipline? This is a very beautiful word, discipline. And if I tell you, the word disciple and discipline, they come from the same root.
Hmm.
The meaning of the word discipline is to create an order,
Right.
creating an order, or coming out of the chaos,
Right.
dropping the chaos. It's also a meaning of discipline.
Right.
And here the word disciple, which means capacity to learn, capacity to know.
Right.
And another meaning, also very beautiful meaning, is capacity to be, not to become, capacity to be,
Hmm.
just be. Yoga tradition is like a guru and shishya, means mentor and disciple.
Right.
So when disciple is ready, we have a saying, when disciple is ready, guru comes itself.
Right. When the
Means,
disciple is ready, the master will appear. Yes.
so when you are disciple, you have capacity to be, simple capacity to just be, which is a big thing, which is a big extraordinary art, right? When you have capacity to be, so the element guru is what? Guru is an element of truth. It
Yeah.
enters within you. It cannot enter within you until you don't have capacity to be. So as you were asking about fear, see, there are ordinary self and extraordinary self. The ordinary self, simply working with some principles, means as I am is not enough. I need to become something. The ordinary self I'm explaining. So
Yeah.
it works under time. Means I am something in this point,
Yes.
and through some techniques, through some methods, I will become that. So
Right.
what I am and what I need to become, there are two
So
points.
I
So
am this right now, but I should
yes,
be this. I want to be this.
right,
There's a
meant to be
gap.
this gap, and in this there is, in between there is a movement. Again, if we study the words, if we go into the depth of the words, many beautiful meanings appears. The word movement and the word motive comes from the same root.
Hmm.
So there is a movement because there is a motive, and this is what I'm explaining as an ordinary self. So why do we have motive? Because I am not agreeing as I am with myself. I am not happy with what I have, with what I am.
And
So there is a
that's
fear.
why you want to be something. You want to learn something new. You want to develop yourself. You want to go somewhere. You want to
Exactly.
buy something because you're
Yes.
not satisfied with yourself as you are. There is this gap.
Exactly. Exactly. If you ask me, we come in this world with extraordinary self.
Hmm.
Then our parents, our teachers, they teach us ordinariness. They tell us that as you are is not enough. I didn't know it by myself. They tell me. They came to me. They said you need to have a name, your country, your identifications, your job, your profile in the society. They tell that as you are, as an innocent person, you can't survive. You need to become little cunning, you need to become smarter, you have to get more marks in the class than other students, you have to come into the competition,
Yeah.
which is based on comparison.
Is
So
it
the
true
fear,
though that we do need certain labels maybe to function in society because we are in a society? So it is important to know some of these things and develop some of these things, like you mentioned.
yeah, for mechanical use of the life, like for an example, if I am an engineer, I need to have a lot of memory, like how to work with a machine.
Right.
If the machine is not working properly, how to make it better, so memory, so the knowledge is required for that. But when it comes to the living, when I'm into the living, experiencing the existence, there is no need for a label.
Hmm.
In fact, with label you cannot live.
Yeah.
The base of this ordinary self is fear.
What are we so fearful of? What's the root of this fear?
Fear is because we are not able to live as we are. We don't have this capacity, so we are living with the images, and in these images everybody is trying to securing and making the image more and more better, through
Right.
earning more money, through getting bigger name, through getting a higher position, all this. So the fear is, if I will stay here as it is, and my friends, my colleagues, my neighbor, they will grow more than me. We want to become more beautiful. If I go into this question, what is more beautiful? Beautiful is based on something ugly. How can you uh, run towards beauty if there is no other person on the earth? There is nothing like beauty and ugly, right? It's
Right.
all about comparison.
Yeah.
You want to become more and more richer. You don't want to become poor, but you are richer because poor exists.
Right.
If everybody have got the money and the property more than you, then you are no more rich.
Yeah.
So we live in comparison actually.
Yes.
So the fear is to just, there is a term we use, FOMO, fear of
Missing out.
missing out.
Yeah.
We use it for children's, and like it looks very childish, but it's true. It's a truth
Yes.
of the today's society. We all have FOMO.
Yes. Very true. Is the ultimate fear of death?
Exactly, fear of death, because we think that we die, because our identity, which is based on images which are very insecure, which are limited with this physical body. So this physical body stops, so the images stop. If you see any fear, it is a fear of losing an image. I have an image that I am a husband of a wife. If
Yeah.
my wife cheat with me, if she leave me, I have fear of losing her,
Yeah.
right? And if I am a let's suppose a yoga teacher, I have a job, so I have a fear of losing my job, because I am a yoga teacher. This is an identity, an image which I have created in my mind somewhere. So I'm afraid of losing this image. So people are afraid of losing their business, their bank account money, their property, their family members, because they identify themselves through this all. And
Right.
this identification is ultimately an image. So all the fears are fear of losing the image, and with this, when this physical body dies, all the image dies. So ultimately, it's a fear of death.
So what should we be identifying with, or should we not have identity at all? And when
We should
we
have.
die, yes, it's our image that dies, but isn't there a part of us that does not die?
We never die actually. According to the science, according to the fact, nothing dies in this universe. Energy only changing its forms.
Yeah.
It's not generated, it's not destroyed, it's only changing its forms. So
Yes.
nothing dies actually. So because we live with this ordinary self, fear based, the self which is based on fear, so we are all the time, insecurities are there, we are all the time into insecurities,
Right.
fears. But if we get this extraordinary self, which is which comes through yoga. Yoga is all about how you can develop an extraordinary self which is free from images, which is
Right.
full of facts, right?
Hmm.
So if I come into this, then there is no fear of death. So yogis are not afraid of death. They say we have got the moksha. The word moksha means liberation. We are
Liberation.
liberated from the life and death cycle.
Wow.
You may have heard about it.
Yes. So the fear is, yeah, fear of our image dying. But the truth is, our essence, our soul, our energy, it will never disappear. It's only these labels that Devina as a girl and she lives in Mumbai and she has these friends and she has this job, all of that, that will disappear. But the
Right.
essence of how come I am alive, what is making my body live, that can never die because that's energy.
Never die. Yeah, the self-centered image, you can live without this image as well for yourself, but you can use all the labels as per living in the society. So the domination is from the extraordinary self, means the images you are using. If you are a yogi, if you are yogi, you are using the images, right? But
Right.
if you are not a yogi, then images are using you. So the mind is controlling us is ordinary self, and I am controlling the mind is yoga.
And that's mindfulness.
That is mindfulness.
So what is this extraordinary self? Can you explain that?
The principles of ordinary self is future based. That what I am and what I will be. In
Yes,
between that, there is a
yes.
struggle. There is a fight,
There's a violence
right? In between
inside
the
you.
two, there is a violence, right? There is a violence. But in extraordinary self, there is no future. There is only being.
Hmm.
That's why Patanjali is saying in the first sutra, now the discipline of yoga. In the second sutra, yoga is chitta vritti nirodha, means suggestions of the mind. Suggestion of the mind means suggestion of the images. There is no image at all, right? Which
Right.
is extraordinary self. Yoga definition is being extraordinary, which is suggestion of the mind. So if you are disciplined, if you are have got the quality of being a disciple,
Yeah.
quality of to be, capacity to be, if you have this capacity, so you have a capacity to live without an image. When I go into the definition of asana, according to Patanjali, Patanjali says sthiram sukham asanam, means a state where you are comfortable and non-moving, means absolutely still,
Yes.
completely still. So stillness, which is developing a capacity of being,
Yeah.
basically. So it's all about developing a discipline within you.
That's amazing. You know, this reminds me of something I saw. This very interesting kind of a motivational speaker. His name is Jason Silva, and he has a beautiful short series of content called "Shots of Awe," awe as in to be in awe. And he says exactly this is another way to look at this: just be here now. And he explains how it's important to live life always so engaged in your present moment that your mind doesn't have the chance to wander to the past or to the future. You're engaging yourself right now, whatever you are doing. And he describes, for example, why things like traveling or maybe doing some adventure sports or anything that occupies you so much in this present moment, it doesn't allow your mind to go somewhere else, and you are so fully into it. And that's why people are addicted to certain things in life, which
Right,
ultimately force you to be in this present moment. And so that's
right.
how he describes it. And again, it's the root is this, though, what you are saying.
So it's very beautiful, as you said. That's why people travel, find the new places, find the new people, new things, new habits, everything we want new. Because with new, there is no memory about it.
Yes.
New is fresh, it's completely out of all the memory. So whenever my consciousness interact with something which is fresh, which is new, which is out of my memory, so I feel an extraordinary self, like what we can say, some glimpse of extraordinary self, myself.
Yes.
So I feel like I have created something, like a feeling of creativity. I feel basically.
Right. To be in this process of creation, any kind of creation. I'll share one small example in my life. Right now we are in lockdown and we can't go anywhere for food or anything. So I have decided to take on myself the role of the cook in the house. And I'm cooking and
Right,
cooking and cooking and cooking, which is something I never did in my life. Even basic things, some dals,
right,
any super basic, but I never made it in my life. And in that
right,
moment, when I'm cooking it and I see what I've made, I'm amazed. Because for me, that's creativity. Isn't that what you're
right.
talking about?
Exactly, exactly the same thing. Because if human is a very creative species, if human will not be engaged with creativity, human will find themselves into more miseries. Basic seed of creative, of joy is creativity. If you can be creative, you can find joy in your life. If you can't be creative, you cannot have joy. If you have joy, you have capacity to love. Otherwise, you don't have capacity to love. So
Right.
the basic seed of human life is creativity.
Hmm.
How to be creative, but creativity involves with a freshness, a newness.
Yes.
That's why Patanjali is more focused in the first sutra. Now, the word now means living a life with freshness. There is no memory, there is nothing old,
Hmm.
everything is new now, present, completely. So then you can have a discipline of being in now. Then you can have suggestions of the mind, which is second sutra. And then the third sutra is tadadrastu savurupe avasthanam, means then you can have a witness, you can be a witness of the true self. Witness, as a witness established into the true self, you become witness.